Eugene Zuta was one of the ministers here. It's a very interesting feeling today. You blessed us so much, but I know deep in there as well, there are other things. Just summarize today for me.
Yeah, for me, I think that somewhat I can start having closure. I met KODA in the year 2001 when I was a music director at Cape Coast.
Wow.
And then I would say that he was the first person who introduced me to music recording. And actually the reason why I am a recording artist,
wow.
I've worked with KODA for the past 20 years. And he's been more than just a producer for me. He's been a brother and a friend. And so my heart has been heavy. And I thank God that we can give him a befitting burial. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be part of the service.
So how did it feel ministering before the body, the room full, and yet people praising God while they were sad? You lifted a song and the atmosphere changed. Talk to me about that.
You know, it felt very Christian.
Yeah.
Because that is the essence of our lives. You know, Philippians chapter 3 verse 10 says that I may know him and to partake in the fellowship of his suffering and the power of his resurrection. So I have come to learn that the Christian walk is a fine balance between experiencing the power of the resurrection and fellowshipping with the suffering of Christ. So though we are sad, yet we rejoice, because for us, our brother is just asleep.
Yeah.
And there will be resurrection morning, and we'll have joined and say, oh brother, you slept early, we have now joined you.
Amazing.
And so though we are crying, we are still rejoicing. It's quite a paradox, but that is what our Christian call is all about.
You know, I was reading somewhere that there are 3 sentences that summarize our existence. Birth is painful.
Yeah.
Life is hard. Death is inevitable.
Yeah.
But in the middle, that life which is hard,
Yeah.
Christ comes as our life.
Yeah.
And that changes the whole story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's such a blessing
Yeah.
to have you. Just finally, for those who don't understand university music,
Yeah.
how big was KODA? Because I was at Legon
Yeah.
between 2000 and 2004.
Yeah.
And when Simply Jazz came to play before Intellecto, it was a different experience. For those who are not privileged to have gone through the university between the late 90s and the first 6 years of 2000, just talk a bit about that time. And because almost all the people who sang here today, you yourself, Neo Kai, a lot of the musicians were forged in those flames.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. KODA, I would say, has been at the forefront of this whole contemporary move.
Yeah.
You know, we needed producers who understood the contemporary sound. And so I know you know about Intellecto.
Of course.
So most of us are products of Intellecto. So he became one of the kingpins who led the production of that Intellecto field, transitioning us from the mainstream gospel music into the mix of the contemporary.
Wow.
And so if you are looking at one of the people who stood at the forefront of this particular move, he is one of them. Like I keep saying, all the songs, people like Daninete, people like Neo Kai, people like Pastor Helen Yost, myself, and several of us are actually out with our sound because of somebody like KODA.